Hallelujah, Christ is risen. I'm Pastor Angel, for those who don't know me, and I have the great joy of serving as the pastor here of Marina United Methodist Church, a Christian community with a welcome as wide as the bay. Some of you may have heard that we are reopening the church, and that is true. We received authorization after working diligently on our protocols and safe practices. We received authorization from the district superintendent to resume in-person worship. We are, however, taking it a little slow. We have a pre-selected group that will be here on this Sunday. You would have received a phone call from someone from our reopening task force inviting you to participate in this soft opening. If you didn't receive that phone call, we are to assume that you will be worshiping with us online. We'll be doing this for a week or two with the pre-selected group. We just want to make sure that we're able to rehearse and refine the necessary protocols and safe practices. So when we have a larger group, we can practice them faithfully. Some of you, hopefully by now, have received in the mail a letter describing what has happened with the reopening. And on the second page, you will notice that there is a behavioral contract. It's important that you read this for those who are coming in person and those who will be coming in person in the near future, that you read this before you leave your house. It's important that you ask yourself these questions and answer honestly. And if you have any doubts over answering any of these, we ask that you would stay home and that you would, if you can, worship online. This is really about health and wellness. We want to ensure that everyone will have a healthy and safe experience in worship. So answer these questions honestly. Also know that we will be asking these questions again at the entrance of the church. Our usher will ask you to kind of double check that this is a right decision. They'll also remind you that we will have a double masking policy while you're in the sanctuary. That means you will be wearing 2 masks on while in worship. If you don't have a second mask, we can provide you a second mask, but this is a requirement. The next is physical distancing. You'll notice here that there's ribbon here and on some of the edges of some of the pews. This is to ensure that we can have safe social distancing within the sanctuary while we worship. Some of you might have your favorite pew that you always sit in, and that pew might not be open. We ask that you be flexible in this time where we are still trying to incorporate worship in ways that are safe. Next, that there be no food or drink. You are welcome to bring water, but we won't be having fellowship time like we used to in the back of the sanctuary, and Holy Communion will be prepackaged and will be given to you as you leave the sanctuary. So please, no food or drink. We ask that you reduce touching things. Some of you, a lot of us kind of grab the pew to get up and go. If you don't need to do that, we ask that you refrain from doing that. You'll also notice that there's no pew Bibles or hymnals, again, just to reduce the touch. On hymnals, we won't have any hymnals because we aren't allowed to have singing in the congregation. We will have music, so you're invited if you remember the words of the hymns. Maybe you sing it in your heart, maybe hum along quietly to yourself, but singing is not going to be permitted. We will do contract tracing, and then we ask that you practice grace. We're all learning at the same time, so please be patient with the worship leadership, with the volunteers, with one another. We're doing the best that we can. On the back side, you'll notice of that letter, frequently asked questions. So, like I said, we are prioritizing those who have no internet access for this first group of people, but we will be opening it up to the full 25%, which is about 28 people, and we are developing the process of how we select those people. We're thinking maybe reservations or creating some sort of schedule, but we will communicate that later. For those who are worshiping online, we will not be worshiping on Zoom. You'll be invited to join us on Facebook Live. So in the currents, like you used to click the button for Zoom, that button will exist, but for Facebook Live. You don't need Facebook to watch the service. It'll direct you to Marina United Methodist Church on Facebook. You just scroll down a little bit and you should be able to find the live stream. If you get there exactly at 10:30, you might want to refresh the page and it'll pop up. If you have any problems or can't find it, shoot me an email, and after the service I can send you the link. The service will be on there for the days to come. So if you aren't able to watch it in real time, the video will still be there. For those who are worshiping in person, notice that again we'll have different seating arrangements. You're invited to bring your own Bible if you'd like to follow along, but that's not required. And that at the end of the service, the usher will dismiss by pew. We want to avoid congregating as much as possible. We know you want to see each other and chit-chat, we just can't do that inside. Lastly is that the restrooms will be open for those who are here. We ask that if you can, use the restroom before you come or go when you get home, but they will be available. It will be one person at a time, just to, again, reduce any breaking of social distancing. So those will be available for emergencies. We're so glad that we're getting to a place in our community that more and more people are getting vaccinated. This is truly a sign of resurrection. But we need to do our due diligence. We need to wear our masks. We need to practice safe distancing. We need to avoid high-risk activities like congregating together and so forth, singing. So please pray for your church as we prepare to reopen. Pray that we might be able to have a safe and healthy experience, a meaningful worship experience, and that we might be able to minister to many people here in person and online. Thank you so much for your faithfulness to the church during this pandemic, and I look forward to seeing you all soon.